Let's see where we're on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got to do all our checking and all our somethings. But anyways, yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome. I'm Jared, and that is Betsy.
I'm Betsy.
And we're doing this live again back to YouTube. We've been doing live on Facebook the whole time. Oh, yeah. Yep, we're on. But, yeah, we've been doing live on Facebook back to that because we had a couple of shows where the people we know locally that watch it there
they weren't
needed
finding
to
us.
tune in.
Yeah.
And so we went back to Facebook because we had a couple of, tarot reading was what took us back. But anyways, humana.
But we missed King of Huecomundo.
King of Huecomundo.
Where are you?
Hopefully he shows up today.
Hopefully he's like, you're back. Today is all about crime. It's going to be true
Quite
crime.
a bit, yeah. And,
True
a little
crime.
bit off. But anyways, yeah, so we're going to kick it off talking about a dinkus extraordinaire. Should we just call him that? Bobby Joe Long.
Bobby Joe Long. That's where it starts.
Yeah, I want to center the show around Lisa McVey, which is
His undoing.
the name title of this show. But we'll get to that. Let's start off and talk about.
So Robert Joseph, or Bobby Joe Long, American serial killer and rapist. He was executed in Florida. He was actually executed for one of his 10 victims. I'm not sure how that all came about, but he starts his early life. He's born October 14th of 1953 in Canova, West Virginia. That's where Bobby Joe. To Joe and Louetta Long. So he's born, and they make a big deal about this, I think, to kind of explain away his psychosis, but he's born with an extra chromosome, an extra X.
What does that mean?
So
now, okay,
we all
girls are XX,
yes,
boys are XY.
yes,
He's an XXY or an XYX or
XXY. It's a specific variant that has a syndrome attached to it called Klinefelter syndrome. And this condition is what creates moobs.
So he's packing some heavies.
So as he goes
Do
through...
we have a cup size?
Well, as he goes through puberty, he develops a hefty set of moobs. And
can I pause for a second?
it couldn't have happened to a better person.
On anybody else, I'd feel bad for him.
Yeah.
On Bobby Joe? Yeah. No.
Well,
did he have a dump truck too? Was he backing that stuff up? Little beep, beep.
But they go on to say that this caused him to be relentlessly teased as a child. And in his adolescence, he actually goes on and has like this. There's King. Hi,
Yep.
King.
He's on here. King says, about time you did a live. Yes, we agree.
Yeah, we're back.
He said, what a day. The queen is dead and weather is odd.
Agreed.
What if the queen controlled the weather? What's going on with the weather down there? It's hot as sin up here, but we're supposed to get crazy rain.
Yeah.
It keeps saying that. They keep threatening me with a good time.
Yeah.
And it's not happening yet. But anyways, go on with Captain Moob.
So Captain Moob gets...
Did he wear a bro?
Well, he gets a breast reduction in his adolescence. And he also...
I'm sure the teasing went away.
They also said that he also suffered multiple head injuries as a child. He was actually hit by a car at one point.
A lot of this stuff might play into
Yeah.
why he was such a psycho.
Well, and he had a dysfunctional relationship with his mother that is, I think, probably the closest related incident to what he went on to do as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
It said that he slept in her bed until he was late in his teenagers and resented her multiple short-term boyfriends.
because they kicked him out of bed, or in the middle of the night when they rolled over, thought they were cupping mom.
Yeah. So as an adult, he goes on and he commits at least 50 rapes. He's noted as being the classified ad rapist or the ad man rapist because he would contact people through the penny saver classifieds. Or if he found a woman alone, he would ask to use the bathroom, and he would go in there and rape and rob the women right in the bathroom.
So he'd go to their house, ask to use their bathroom. Oh.
Yeah. So he moves to Tampa Bay area, 1983. He gets in trouble for these rapes on and off. He gets a lot of his charges dropped, and then they're back on again, back off again. You know, he gets a new charge, he gets it dropped, or, you know, they kind of step him down a little bit. But then he's actually on probation for assault when he commits his first rape murder. So he commits his first rape strangle murder on 20-year-old Ann Wick. Now, her body wasn't discovered until November 22nd of 84. And a lot of his bodies of the people that he raped and then murdered weren't found for quite some time.
So when did he commit this first violation, and when did they find the body?
So it had been about 8 months. And in that 8 months, it was averaging a new crime every week and a half.
Oh,
so it was a spree.
He was just escalating.
Yeah.
He was taking his unfortunate double X out on everyone.
Yeah. So he would dump them on the side of the road in these rural areas. He would drag them into the woods, and he targeted vulnerable women.
And he was doing this in Florida?
Yep.
So
they called it the Strip. So the Florida Strip, it's kind of on the peninsula. There's a strip of land that connects the two bodies of water. Mm-hmm. And it was in that strip of land that he was committing all of his crimes.
Are there alligators in that area?
Well, that's the problem. They only know that there were 10 because he told them there were 10.
Yeah, because there could be more.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep talking. I've got to get the guard dog.
So that's where he's at. He's nearing the end of this horrible spree, raping and murdering people, when he runs into his undoing. I mean, full stop, his undoing. So
one of my personal heroes.
Yeah. So he runs into 17-year-old Lisa McVey. Lisa McVey had lived a really rough life, in and out of foster homes, had terrible parents, terrible grandparents.
Mom was an addict.
Yep.
So she went to live with Grandma. Grandma's boyfriend was a pedophile, so he molested and raped her all the time. And this girl just tortured childhood.
So apparently, the morning of November 3rd, 1984, Lisa McVey writes a suicide note. She really has decided that she's done. She's done with everything. She was going to commit suicide later that night, but she has a job, and she felt like she needed to at least go to her job so as not to alarm anyone, so that she could do this deed in peace. She gets to her job, completes her work, and it was dark out. Well, her only mode of transportation was a bicycle. A friend of hers that she works with asks her if she wants a ride home, and she said she felt at peace for the first time in her whole life, having made this decision and written the note, that she was finally free. So she told them, no, I'll be fine. I'm going to ride home. And that's where we'll leave it for now. Let's do some news.
On to the news. So let me get this lined up. Should we just kick it right off with the biggest story of well, it's going to be the biggest. For
us, it's the biggest story of today. But for those living, under the monarchy in whatever form they are, this is a big story.
I think this is going to be the biggest world story for. I bet
her
for
funeral.
20 years.
I don't know how it works, but who comes next?
It's the prince, not the ginger one that come over here. The other one,
and his wife.
Yes, Prince.
I don't know, Harry,
Ryan,
Edward, whatever.
Is it Harry?
I don't know.
There's a Harry. Prince Ryan. I wish they'd have named him something cool like Garth or
Magnus.
Prince King Magnus.
So Charles will succeed Queen Elizabeth.
Prince Charles, the dad of the princes.
That's what it says.
Wow, I thought they passed him, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, so Queen Elizabeth passed away today. How do I put this? Queen Elizabeth, she was the big boss for 70 years. Very regal, always matching her clothes, never caught out wearing anything, clothes that were untoward. As she became grandmotherly, she dressed appropriate. All that stuff seems stand up. There are maybe some questions to who the royal family let close to them. But, other than that, she did good. She worked as a mechanic during World War II for the Royal Air Force, if I remember. But yeah, no, it was for the Royal Army, but she worked as a mechanic, I think. I don't know how much mechanic work she actually did, but just for her to do that, that's one cool thing about the British royalty is they kind of step up to the plate like that. I think old Chuck he was a captain in the Navy. It's pretty famous that, is it Harry or whatever, the one in charge, the bald one now, the bald grandson that married the
Meghan Markle?
No, not that one. She's the awful. He's the questionable one. No, the other one, the one that's going to be king next.
So Charles, Elizabeth's eldest son, Charles, 73, formerly the Prince of Wales, has immediately become the King of England. His wife Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, is now the Queen Consort.
Man, but what's Chuck's oldest son's name?
William.
Yeah, William was I want to say an Apache pilot.
Yeah.
And then Harry.
Yep. After
Harry
William
was infantry officer.
So after William, it's his eldest child, Prince George of Cambridge, who's 9 years old right now.
Yeah, George, he's 9 already, huh?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, but because it goes through the line of the eldest son. You second sons, all you get to do is marry an American movie star and sully the good name of the house. But
that's right.
Anyways, I've been watching Game of Thrones.
All the money.
Game of Thrones is how I figured this out.
Well,
but she has passed. We wish England the best.
Very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Although she reigned for 70 years.
70 years. She was a fairly good-looking young lady.
She stayed out of controversy. Yeah. She was, I'm sure, just strong as a battle axe, but meek in the public eye.
Could you imagine having that job, though?
Hell no.
Like where everyone looks at you to see what's going on, and
hell no.
And then she's. she's in her 90s, a little tiny 90-year-old lady. Yeah, couldn't imagine. I'm sure there's lots of controversy, and we'll hear about it in the comments.
Yeah, perhaps.
Do we want to do more news, or should we?
Let's do the Illinois one, because that one kind of caught me off guard, especially covering true crime today.
Yeah, Illinois, I think, is trying to lean into softer judicial system will fix its ills.
Start with drugs. But at any rate, Illinois has some what they call non-detainable offenses. This begins January 1st, 2023. So criminals
It's called the Safe T Act, like Mr. T or Ice T.
Yeah.
Or
so criminals who commit the following list of offenses, these are non-detainable.
Which means they'll be booked, printed, and released.
Booked, printed, and released. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Aggravated battery.
Okay, so that's beating someone up because you're mad at them. Okay.
Aggravated DUI.
Oh, okay.
That would be like second and third offenses.
Because you're angry that you're drunk?
I'm angry driving
or
drunk.
Or is that you're driving drunk and then get road rage and then start ramming other cars, then you get the DUI? Because you'd think DUI would be just straight up. But anyways, go on.
Aggravated fleeing. So fleeing a police officer.
Like, I hate running.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, okay. You're angry running.
Arson.
Ooh, that's getting deep. That's like mass murder territory.
Yeah.
That's like you don't care who dies territory.
Yeah. Burglary.
Okay. That one.
Okay.
Depending on how you do it, okay. You know.
The next one really bothers me.
Uh-huh.
Drug-induced homicide.
Yeah, that means you got sideways and then killed someone.
Kidnapping.
What the?
Non-detainable. Kidnapping.
These are that's a felony. That is, or should be if it's not. I mean,
last one. Second-degree murder.
Okay, let's break down what second-degree murder is. You guys get to see the dog for a minute, I'm afraid. Yeah, what is second-degree murder?
Second-degrry murder is non-detainable.
Yeah, but what do they call? Oh boy, she's going to change the writing on your computer. Yep, there she is. She's gonna.
Oh, sure.
Yes, the guard dog is in the house. That is insane.
Yeah. So they're not saying that you won't be charged with it. What they're saying is they're not going to detain you.
So if someone commits arson,
yeah,
like they burn down a building, takes the lives of a couple of people, and they're just, I mean, they have to, I guess that would be they'd have to charge them with first degree murder in order to hold them. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So a person could like literally do a one-night killer spree there and walk on everything.
Yeah.
Well, Illinois.
The problem I have with this is not the non-detainable piece. The problem I have with this is how long it takes for a charge to make it through the system. We're talking 3 to 5 years. So this person is non-detained for 3 to 5 years awaiting trial. How much more damage?
I wonder how many trials they can chalk up. How many calls to trial?
Yeah.
You know? How
many chances does that give them to reoffend?
Like you see Cousin Bob putting on his suit. Which trial is this? Oh, shoot, I forgot. I don't know if this is the summons for arson or one of those 3 second-degree murder charges I've got. They were spanned out over a year and a half, but, you know, how does that work?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, let's get back to the story.
Okay, well, let's carouse some comments real quick. Hi, Shawnette. King says, good to see you guys back. Shawnette says, I am cooking but listening.
What are you cooking, Shawnette?
Yeah, what are you cooking?
I need ideas.
Steak. Done.
That's what you're a meatitarian.
I know.
Hi, Laura. Laura's watching.
Yes, Laura's watching. R.I.P. Queen Elizabeth. Both king and queen were up to no good in their early years. The disappearance of many children.
Now I have heard that.
There are stories that...
and we kind of went back and forth on whether or not we were going to talk about her ties to pedo.
But there's been also like dead children dropped off on their kind of driveways and houses of their attendees, butlers and such. There's a couple stories like that. And then again, they palled around with that crazy dude that ran the
Weinstein.
No. Well, that was her second oldest son. But that crazy dude that ran around that did like the Top of the Pops. Gosh, I forget his name right now. But anyways, they ran around with him. And, he was everything creepy. That's a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
I remember one of the kid survivors, an old man, was about to speak out and had shocking proof of the king and queen. Not even a day passed. The guy was found hanged.
Yes.
And said it was suicide.
Suicide. I hate to be suicided like that.
Well,
suicided in any way.
Yeah. It does seem to be, the hanging is a common trait, but wasn't like one of Hillary's hanger-ons just found, or a Democrat hanger-on just found dead.
Shot in the back of the head by his own gun.
Hanged and shot in the back of the head with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Suicide.
Suicide.
That's how suicide is done.
Yeah, because, I don't know which comes first. The mechanics of that are confusing. Do you hang?
How do you
shotgun? And they didn't find the weapon.
How do you shoot yourself in the back of the head with a shotgun?
While hanging.
Or sitting or standing. At the back of the head part's the
and
hard
they didn't find the weapon.
Yeah, it was suicide.
It was suicide.
But his family and friends say it was the royals. I have heard that and worse. King of Hucamundo. Not sure if it is all true, though.
Well, here's the thing. What we do know is that power corrupts ultimately. And they had a lot of power.
Well, okay, they had the ultimate power.
Yeah.
One, not only did they have power that they could control people, but they had the kind of power that would make it so that regular citizens would, on average, go out of their way to protect them.
Yeah.
Because you're not just a world leader, you're a symbol.
Yeah.
You're a symbol of continuation, of greatness, of prosperity and hope.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Shawnette, this is for you, Betsy.
Fried chicken and something. Ooh,
fried chicken and something.
I love fried chicken.
I do not remember this case.
That's how most of my dinners start. I'm going to do chicken and something.
Mine start with
steak.
And you know the best part about steak? Don't usually need to end something.
It is the meal.
It is the meal. You know, the cows eat the grass.
Oh.
Turn the grass into nutrients for me.
You're basically a vegetarian.
I am Shawnette's eating a vegetable-based meal tonight.
Yes, she is.
Chicken and fish. Those are good vegetables. Two of my favorite vegetables from the garden. So, all right, back to the story.
So she leaves on her bike, and she says that she's about a block away when she passes this church. And what she notices in this church, first of all, is this car. Mind you, at this time, she is 17.
Yeah, she's now granted,
she's lived a hard 17.
She's more mature than the average. Like, she's going through it. I tried digging it up. I want to know, was her grandmother's boyfriend charged? Was he put in prison? And was he ran through by all of the biggest prison dudes?
I don't know.
See, I couldn't find
I don't
that,
know.
but I hope so.
Well, given her age, she would have been a minor at the time, and so those records are very difficult to find because she would have been listed as a Jane Doe. At any rate, she sees this car, and she notices that one of the tires is weird. And she makes a mental note that this tire is different. Now, in all of his other crimes, one of the things they noticed at the scene was one wonky tire track.
Like a cheap donut.
Yeah. And so it's listed in the report. So it's pretty cool that she notices this. She says she kind of slows down, stops her bike and leans it over, and she's mentally trying to figure out, what is this car doing here in a church parking lot after dark? When she gets knocked off of her bike and he holds a gun to her left temple. So right out the gate, he forces her into his vehicle. She said it was right then that she made the decision that it wasn't her life to take, that she needed to be alive, and that he wasn't going to take her life either, that only God could take her life. Mm-hmm. And so she decided that this is it, I'm fighting. And I don't know what that looks like right now, but I'm fighting. So she had always watched these crime shows growing up. It was kind of her thing. Like I've watched lots of scary movies, and I don't ask who's downstairs when I hear a noise down there.
You learned.
Because I'm learning.
And you don't run up the stairs in the house with the killer in it.
And I don't run and then stop and look back to see if the killer's chasing me. I just won't do that.
Yes.
Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I would be
you keep running.
A streak. Yeah. So, but she had watched all of these like crime shows, and so he throws her into the car, and at this point she's still untied. She's still free. But he's got the gun, and he tells her to take her clothes off. And she knows this is going to be bad. This is it's going downhill fast. Mm-hmm. She goes on to say that because of all that she had experienced in her life, she had this really keen ability to check out. Like mentally leave what was happening.
Here's the sad thing. I'm sure that prior to Grandma's boyfriend, there were other Many, Grandma's boyfriend and probably Mother's boyfriends. This is a sign to everyone. Don't be a crappy parent.
Yeah. Although,
please, just don't.
In the grand scheme of things, had she had really great parents, she wouldn't have survived.
That's true. But then again, had he had great parents,
he wouldn't have done this.
He wouldn't have been this way.
So,
take a moment. Look at all of the school shooters. All of them have one thing in common.
Yeah.
Busted household.
Yep.
So don't be that.
So he assaults her, violently assaults her.
Yeah. With a gun to her head the whole time.
With a gun to her head the whole time. So
it's just awful.
And she says that she checks out during the assault intentionally, just goes to a different place. And when that is finished, she's right back in it. She needs to know. She needs to understand what's happening. So, first thing he does is try to gag her. And she said...
He tries to put a bandana over her mouth.
So he tries to wrap her, and she said that instinctually she clenches up her jaw so that...
she makes her jaw wider by flexing the jaw muscles.
Yes.
And so that...
So when she relaxes, it's not tight.
It falls off. But he's trying to gag and blindfold her at the same time, which allows the blindfold to slip so she can see again also. This chick... her state of mind is
she's totally
awesome.
Dialed in.
Oh man, yeah.
So not only does she, so he ties this around her face and she clenches her jaw really tightly. And as soon as he's binding her hands with a cloth or a bed sheet, she says she does the same thing. She makes her wrists as bulky as she can, knowing that she'll be more comfortable. She may not get out, but she'll be more comfortable when she relaxes. And she starts taking notes, mental notes. She says, I immediately start taking stock. Okay, where am I? All right, what kind of car is this? She's making these connections in her brain.
Which way are we driving? How many turns? What street are we turning on? She tracks all this stuff.
So even down to the color of the lights on his dash, green lights on the dash, it says this on the dash. Okay, she makes this correlation. Okay, it reminds me of Magnum PI because it says MPI on the dash. So Magnum PI drives a car. The carpet in the car, she's like, I start kind of feeling around. It's not regular car carpet. It's like he put it in there himself. She's like, I noticed that it's red. And as we're driving, she's like, I'm counting the street lights. Boom, boom, boom. We get onto the freeway. Okay, so I'm counting how many poles we're going by. She's just staying in it the whole time.
I know, and remembering all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing. If I have to count higher than 4, we've run into problems.
Yeah. Well, in that state, most people get in that fight or flight. And when they're interviewed later, they like, I don't know. I was just so upset and I couldn't see clearly. And not her. She was in it.
Yeah, they get into tunnel vision. Your memory is crap. All that.
So he gets her back to his house and she's still doing the same thing. She's going through so it was 4 steps up. There was 2 steps into the house. So I know it's got a landing of at least 2 steps. And while she's making this memory, this tape inside her head, he's like forcing her in the door and yelling at her. And he gets her inside and he goes on to assault her 2 and 3 more times. Just violently. So she says at the end of this assault, she tells him, I need to go to the bathroom. And he takes her to the bathroom, but he's standing at the door. And she says, I knew what I needed to do in that bathroom. So I tell him, I can't go to the bathroom unless you shut the door. So as soon as he shuts the door, she starts putting her fingerprints on everything.
Everything. She's touching. She's making sure they go everywhere. Places you wouldn't clean. The top of the mirror frame.
Yep. Around the bottom of the tub surround. Yep. She's touching the bottom of the toilet.
She's just touching, down at the bottom of the bowl and the basin.
She's putting her DNA and fingerprints everywhere.
Yeah. Now, she wouldn't have known about DNA. This was so long ago, but the fingerprints, she's putting them everywhere.
She's like, if I'm dying here tonight, they're going to know that I died here.
Well, she's convinced she's going to die, but she's gonna do everything she can to make sure he's caught.
Yep. So
this is a 17-year-old. She's this young girl who's awful childhood. Be good parents, folks.
And she starts taking notes. Now, mind you, this whole time, she's still got her face covered. Mm-hmm. But she starts taking notes on, like, what does it smell like in the house? What does it remind me of? And she's making all of these neural connections of, like, okay, so I'm going to remember the smell if I think about this. And then I'm going to remember how tall he is if I think about this. At one point, she's out of the bathroom, and he's got her back in the bedroom. He assaults her again. I mean, this goes on for hours and hours and hours. It was just rage-filled.
Yeah, this guy's just a sadist.
And he grabs her hands, and she's blindfolded, and he puts them on his face. And instead of being, like, repelled by it, she takes that opportunity to map out his face like a blind person would.
So she can...
She's like, he's got small ears. He's got wide set eyes. He's got a pocked face. He's got a short beard. He's got no mustache. He's got big boobs. But not
kind of jealous now.
But she...
Wonder where he got these done.
And then she starts to try to communicate with him.
She humanizes herself.
And not only humanizes herself, but she humanizes him.
Mm-hmm.
She is recognizing the things that set him off and the things that calm him down.
Now, this is a girl that grew up in trauma because of, again, crappy parents. So she's learned to focus and survive trauma. To manipulate is what she's doing, but that's not the correct word. But manipulate the situation to survive. And I'm not using manipulate in a bad way. She's learning to tack the sails so the wind doesn't blow the craft over.
Yeah, and she said that he was very childlike. And she started noticing that his mannerisms were like arrested development. She didn't know how to put that into a thought pattern, but that he was or seemed younger in maturity than her.
Mm-hmm.
So she started to take note and started creating this persona. She went on to tell him that her dad was really ill,
mm-hmm.
and that she was his caretaker. She was trying to kind of play into his, kind of his softer side.
Well, not just that, but she used the father figure, which her dad wasn't around at all.
No, didn't know him at all.
But she used the father figure because this guy obviously has an issue with women.
She said, I figured out very early on that he just hated women.
Yeah, so she humanizes herself and makes a sympathetic male figure for him to care about, And then she also, this only goes on, and I say only because it could have gone on for weeks and weeks and weeks, 26 hours. Mm-hmm.
But it was 26 straight hours of pure hell.
Yeah, a full day of, it
hell.
said something like during that 26 hours, he
Dozens.
assaulted her like 10 times.
Yeah.
Like over and over. Like he would have to stop and catch his breath, drink a Gatorade and then right back to it.
So she also, figuring that he didn't like women, she made herself very small in her responses. She said that she spoke quietly and in a monotone voice to him. Anytime he would, at points during the day, he would say, I'm going to blow your effing brains out, and smash the gun up against her.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that instead of crying, because I knew that would set him off, she would say, let's talk about it, or she would just keep very, very calm. And it worked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's alive.
It worked because after more than a day of this torture, he grabs her, throws her back in the car, and she said it was so violent that she just knew he had to be lying, because he said, I'm taking you back home. Mm-hmm. And he told her, he said, tell your father that he's the reason I didn't kill you.
Yep.
So he tosses her back in the car. He drives to an ATM in a gas station, and it's about 4:30 in the morning.
Back then it was called cash machines. This was a while ago.
Yeah.
But he drove her there.
Still blindfolded.
Kind of in the same city that he nabbed her at, but not in the same neighborhood.
So he takes her to an ATM in a gas station, and then he drives behind this business that's about a block away. It's about 4:30 in the morning. He pulls her violently out of the car. She said, I remember thinking, this is it. Like, I haven't won. And he throws her down on the ground, and he tells her, wait 5 minutes before taking off the blindfold.
Mm-hmm.
And then he drives away.
She doesn't wait 5 minutes, though.
No.
She pulls the blindfold down and doesn't she run into the gas station?
She takes off running. She runs all the way to her grandmother's house.
Okay, yeah. She goes to her grandmother's.
So she's afraid that if she doesn't get home and write down these details, that her emotions at this very moment, she recognizes that if she doesn't get home and unload all of these details, the color of the car, the weird tire, the color of everything, the way he felt, where he lived, how many stoplights, that her emotions are going to finally be allowed to bubble to the surface, and she's not going to get them right.
Mm-hmm.
So she runs all the way back to her grandmother's house. When she arrives,
this is the part that pisses me off the most.
Her grandmother's boyfriend began beating her and accusing her of cheating on him. Everyone take a minute. Let's reflect on that. Matter of fact, grandma's boyfriend, if you're still alive, turd head, she's 17. You're dating her grandmother and she's cheating on you. Yeah.
I do believe that I would thoroughly enjoy kneecapping this guy.
Yeah. Total
He's a
dirtbag.
disgusting slime ball.
So they didn't believe her. Neither her grandmother or her grandmother's boyfriend.
He beat her and raped her again. And I'm starting to think that grandmother knew what he was doing and offered her up as a sacrifice to keep him around for the financial security.
So she goes to the police. She's got all of these details down, and she goes to the police. Her grandma and her grandma's boyfriend tell the police that she was lying about being kidnapped. However, lucky for McVey, the police insist on an investigation of some sort. Now, Lisa wanted to make sure the police caught Long. She recognized that he was practiced. Her time spent with him, she knew that he was practiced, that this was not his first time and this would not be his last time. So she told Larry Pinkerton, who was the sergeant at the time, everything about the attack. She had made this entire account about the attack. Just days after her ordeal, she heard a news report about a murder victim in her area. Someone else had turned up. Hearing about this victim and the way that the person was tied, she called Sergeant Pinkerton and said, "This is your guy. He's done this one too." She recounts her experience again to the police. Pinkerton asked her if she'd like to be hypnotized to help her jog any latent memories, but her grandmother's boyfriend refused to grant her permission, which prompted her to reveal his abuse to the cops, which led to his arrest.
Yep.
So she wanted to still, she's just very, very driven to catch this guy. But because now that all of this has been revealed with Grandpa or Grandma's boyfriend, she's placed in a center for runaway teens.
Which is, I think, a terrible thing. What
Way
they should
better
have
than
done,
what she was.
Yeah, but what they should have done is tossed Grandma out on the street. I'm sorry, I can be kind of rough. Tossed Grandpa to alligators. I mean, they're just right there. They could have fed him to alligators.
Yeah.
And given her their home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I going
all
too
of
far
their
with
worldly
that?
possessions?
Yeah. Am I going too far with that?
No. So while she's in this center for runaway teens, she's still very driven. Like, she's like, this guy needs to be caught. So Pinkerton brings a photo lineup of these potential kidnappers. Now, mind you, she had been blindfolded the entire time, but she felt his face, and she successfully identifies Long in the lineup. And she led detectives right to him. They retraced the movements, as hard as that was for her, at 17 years old, just 12 days. She's still trying to process this, trying to find a box big enough in her brain to put it in. They put her in a car. They blindfold her, and she led them right to his house.
Yep. She is a personal hero of mine. She
Yeah.
is a complete badass.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching, I'm putting pictures of her on screen right now.
2004, she signed up for the police academy. She's now a Hillsborough County Sheriff, and works for the same department that arrested her abductor. And she specializes in sex crimes.
Yep.
2019, they executed him.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't a show about pornography, but take a minute and let that, just drink it in.
And she sat in the front row wearing a shirt that said "Long Overdue."
Yep. Now you know what's that? Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
This is the real deal.
Yeah.
This is the real person. She's a tough chick. She's brilliant at 17, and I'll bet she's an excellent police officer.
Yeah.
And if I ever had a daughter that was now I know this show was kind of about old Bobby Joe, but I like it being about McVey.
Yeah, kind of the victor.
The hero.
Yeah.
She saved herself.
Oh, boy.
She saved herself. She did it.
Yep. She's a badass.
Oh, hands down.
I mean, have you ever been in a car accident?
Yeah.
Yeah. That little rush of adrenaline makes you lose your mind. Mm-hmm. You're like, I don't know where the seatbelt is. I don't know how to turn the car off. Where am I? Who am I? She didn't have that. She was right as rain. From the jump.
She kept it together. How many lives did she save?
Oh yeah.
Because she had it. She maintained control.
Yeah. She's a badass.
She is. Lisa McVey, good looking out. I've got one last story I want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
One last news story.
Wild.
Okay, so apparently in Las Vegas, there's a reporter that was reporting on a political figure. Okay, we'll just go with the latest story. Las Vegas. The DNA of now arrested public official was found at the site of a Las Vegas investigative reporter's fatal stabbing, and the man was very upset about upcoming stories the reporter was pursuing. So, County Public Administrator Robert Tellis was arrested late Wednesday after a brief police standoff at his home and hospitalized for what Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo described as self-inflicted wounds hours after investigators served a search warrant and confiscated vehicles in the criminal probe of the killing of a Las Vegas Review-Journal reporter, Jeff German. So here's what it sounds like.
So he killed him.
Yeah. So he was the German was reporting on, here we'll read off what he's reporting on. Complaints of administrative bullying, favoritism, sounds like a relationship with one of the staffers at the county office, that it looks like it deals with probate. And so then Tellis, lost his primary to be reelected. So he got pissed off and went after the reporter.
And he did it himself.
Yeah. He went and killed him. So, I mean, that's boiled over. That guy lost his mind. But I've been following this story. I know in the beginning they said it sounds like, a political guy did it, we're talking about Las Vegas County, but well, it's not Las Vegas County, but the county that Las Vegas is in. So it's a wealthy county. So it's a bigger county council, but it sounds like it was a county official. So not a national or even a state official. But it sounded like, no, that can't be. A county, Officer wouldn't go kill a reporter, but looks like he did.
Damn.
That's pretty wild.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is.
And to be so, I don't know, just caught up in your public persona that you risk your actual persona.
Well, and it sounds like he tried killing himself when they finally narrowed in on him. Now, could it have been one of those crime of passion type moment where he's going to claim like he went to confront the reporter and it just got too heated, so he, stabbed him or shot him or, whatever. But yeah, that's insane. All right, you want to go through the Facebook comments real quick?
Don't have any on Facebook, but let's see what we got here.
I think there's a few on Facebook if we go to them. Is it this one? No, it's this one.
Shane's watching. Hi, Shane.
All right.
Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Okay. All right. Laura, hi. Ryan, hi. Laura, they should teach skills like this in school, including self-defense as a PE option. I agree. And they should bring marksmanship back to schools.
Yeah. We're actually teaching a self-defense class for teenagers at the library this month.
Good. Yeah, they should. Now, when someone has a gun on you, I don't know what your self-defense could be. I know that...
well, psychological self-defense is what McVey used.
But what she used was beyond what any 17-year-old would... me at 17, I wouldn't have thought of any of that.
No. I'd have had a pity party. I'd have been begging and screaming. I'm sure at 17.
This lady's so intelligent, quick-witted, very smart. But yeah,
total badass.
I like self-defense. And I mean, I'm all about, I say, let's just arm him. Make it so that rapes don't happen anymore because dudes
then
get dead.
Chosen your fate, yeah.
Yeah, dudes get dead. I'm good with that. I don't have any daughters, but I've got nieces. All right, where was we at? Okay, here we were. Shawnette says, I love steak too with A1 sauce. I usually eat it with I like Tabasco, Sriracha, Frank's. I'm a spicy sauce kind of guy, but I like it. And then Lisa says, McVey, she got away, right? Yes, she did. King says, she lived a hard 17.
She did.
Shawnette, very scary when you get mixed up with a crazy person. Yes. And
poor girl.
Problem is, I'm sure lots of listeners are have experience in this. I agree with you both. Poor girl, but so brave and smart. Oh, down she was on it, thank God. Hell yeah, good girl. Very shocking stuff, yes. The perps always have a weakness, so always pay attention. Hats off to Lisa McVey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of their part of the reason that 99% do it is for power, and that's because they feel powerless, because they do have these weaknesses, and they've yet to figure out a way to
power or broken normal compunctions.
Yeah,
compulsions, compunctions. Whatever, But like BTK.
Yeah,
he was unable to perform unless certain weird criteria was met. And sometimes it initiated with he would like to put on his wife's clothes.
Mm-hmm. And she caught him a couple of times.
That would get him all riled up. And
weird dude.
And that would get him riled up. And so he'd be ready for his wife to come home. Boom, they make a kid. He's a good religious man. Having kids there in the church is a good thing to do, propagating the sheep. And eventually it got to where he had to keep pushing it harder and harder, and then we all know what he did.
Yeah.
King says, could be a satanic ritual. They're really big around those time frames. Yeah, we need to do a revisit on that show. And it's funny, the way we initially did that show, my mind has kind of changed. Not that I think that any of those circumstances we covered then were, but I think there were things possibly going on like that. And maybe those events were used as red herrings to draw the eyes away from, because it's the more I look into this, the more it freaks me out.
Satanic panic. We really should do that show again.
If I die, still go down. If I die, you still go down. LOL would be my way of thinking for sure. Yeah, that's what she did. She was laying out the fingerprints. Yep.
Scratching with her nails.
And that's the thing. Nowadays, we've got DNA, so we got the next level of stuff.
And there's trace DNA, and I mean...
How many times nowadays? I mean, if you're a serial killer nowadays...
Forget it.
You better be wearing Tyvek suits. You better you
better be Dexter.
Do not be the regular serial killer that decides to leave a...
Did you watch Dexter?
I did.
I love Dexter.
Don't think you're going to stand above him in the hotel room that you kept clean and pleasure yourself. You're going to get caught.
Yeah.
I'll bet, I don't know, 90% of these circumstances where it's a person kills someone for sexual gratification gets caught just because that person, left a sample.
Yeah. And they may not get caught right away if they're not in CODIS, but eventually, I mean, like
it's the personal killers.
Now, because we've got all of this ancestry web.
Oh, that's how they got...
That they'll catch you in other ways. You don't have to be in CODIS. You don't have to willfully give it. They'll catch a relative of yours and then trace it
They'll
back.
find a cousin that matches a little bit. And that's how they got that California killer. What was that dink's name?
Not the Night Stalker. No. We knew about him.
They thought he was the Night Stalker when he first showed up.
Zodiac.
Not the Zodiac. The Zodiac, they're thinking they caught him through clues, but they're not sure. The guy died.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's the California. The worst was he was a cop. And when people come to those meetings...
Golden State?
Yeah, Golden State Killer. And they would have town meetings about it, and a guy'd stand up and say, man, if someone broke into my house, I would take care of him, yeah. And sure enough, he would break into their house that night and kill them. He was...
Yeah.
But anyways, no, nowadays, it's the... how should I say it? Personal-oriented murders get caught easy. If it's serial killers that just...
Random
kill and they're not... I don't know how to put this.
It's closing in, though.
Yeah.
Because you layer on that precog, you layer on the eye in the sky, and all of the...
Wait until we have the neural chip.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You won't be able to get away with shit.
Shawnette says, wow, I thought my experience was bad, which it was, but this is way worse. Yeah, Shawnette's been through some stuff. We've been chatting a little bit to maybe have her share her story on here if and when she feels ready. She figured out what needed to be done in order to humanize with a crazy person, which you should do. They always have a weak spot, trust me. That's true. She figured out that he hated women, and so she made herself subservient and made a male on the other end that needed his help.
Yep. Made herself very small.
Mm-hmm. Very childlike for an older male. That no bueno. That comes from King. Shawnette to survive. Geez, over 10 times he must have had some unreleased tension. He was even married at the time, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Married, had 2 kids, 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Sick bugger. King of Heck, Shawnette is chatting with King, says, I was in a similar situation, not as bad, but still bad, 7 years.
7 years?
Yep. I had Stockholm Syndrome, shotgun by the bed and drugged, etc., etc.
Woke up to Hail Satan on the walls every day. Forget it.
The story is a rough one to hear about. King says back to her, wow, good. I think maybe we'll let their communications back and forth stay that. How about that? We don't need to read those out to each other.
Glad she got control of the situation and got the justice done.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, she served the public in lots of ways by taking control of the situation.
How many lives did she save?
We'll never know, but I guarantee you, not just her own.
Yeah, but she saved. I mean, the guy had killed, that he admitted to 10.
Yeah, King says, murderers will get caught in the same day now. Glad times have changed for the good on that. It's such a slippery slope, and we talked about it in the precog show, but I believe that it is a slippery slope. All of the ways that things are interconnected, because so much good, may outweigh the negative consequence.
It's a tough call, isn't it? The big thing is,
I'm nervous to donate my hair. What if it ends up at a murder scene? Who's
on the other end of that controlling factor? That's the big thing. If it's someone who is a not honest person or something like that, then this controlling thing can
be evil,
can go awry. Yeah. And if it's someone but where do you find someone that's just? Let's face it, our government is not known for having honorable individuals involved with it.
Well, no, and even an honorable...
Especially not the politicians
even or the high-level individual can be tainted, can be bought. I'm here to tell you, I would do some sketchy shit for $1 million. And I think I'm pretty honorable.
Yeah, I'd probably do some sketchy shit.
Yeah.
For $3 or $4 grand. Hell, I've done sketchy shit for a candy bar.
So that's the thing, it's this domino effect where they're like, listen, I'll give you $1 million and all you need to do is just leave that little door unlocked there tonight. $1 million. And then that, I don't know. So again, I think that the slippery slope lies in how much good, and does that outweigh the negative side effects of having that much power?
It's tough. It is tough.
But I'm telling you can't get away with shit these days.
King says, Bitsy. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Next week, announcement. Next week we've got Indigo. Indigo Feathers coming on next week, Thursday at 4. She's coming on. So if you guys want to have Indigo Feather is a medium, a psychic,
Reiki master.
Yeah, Reiki master.
Reiki, I don't know how to say it.
She reads cards. She does all that stuff. So
and overall, just the coolest person.
Oh, and an awesome lady. So join us then. She's going to come on. She'll do some card readings for you guys if you want it done. She'll do some psychic medium stuff for you if you want it done. She'll talk about crystals. She's a definite crystal hound.
She's a healer.
Yeah, and so join us then. We'll be chatting with Indigo and just getting a general feel for it. A general fun conversation. She's very fun to talk to. So we will see you guys next week.